it's been over a month since I released my last set of rankings, and with our drafts right around the corner, I mean literally, I have 2 money drafts tonight, 2 money drafts tomorrow, as well as a fan league draft that if you want to tune in, we're live tomorrow at 7 o'clock. These drafts are right around the corner, and today I'm going to be giving you my official set of rankings, really only the top 20 at each position, as I can't give away my deep sleepers. Come on, I have some drafts right around the corner. But if you like sports podcasts, I'm telling you, this is the channel for you. I've been dropping 4 videos a week for about 10 to 12 months now. So if you enjoyed any point, all we ask for is that you support us on the road to 500 subs. But without further ado, this is the Anomaly Podcast. It's Owen. Let's start off here with the quarterback position. Alright, kicking off here at the quarterback position. Again, it's not going to be too much of a deep dive into these positions right around the corner for drafts. And most of you guys know why I have these players where I have them. But at the quarterback position, my top 10 goes as follows. We have Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow as my top 5. Then Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Tua, and Parler Watson are my top 10 quarterbacks. Again, no surprises here. I guess maybe the biggest surprise is having Justin Herbert as a top 4 guy and maybe having Tua Tagovailoa as a top 10 guy. I believe both of those guys this year, Tua with Mike McDaniel, the offensive guru, and not to mention the playmakers at his disposal, to me just make him a top 10 level guy. Justin Herbert, same thing. He has a new offensive coordinator, tons of weapons around him. I'm looking for a breakout year from Justin Herbert. From 11 through 20 at the quarterback position, we have Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Dak Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers. From 16 through 20, we have Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, and Brock Purdy. Could swap out a couple of those guys at the bottom of the list after Anthony Richardson with some guys that didn't make it. But I'm happy with this list. And again, when you get past Anthony Richardson in your drafts, you're really looking just for backup quarterbacks at that point, if not third strings, and you're kind of just looking for what fits with your team. Maybe you have Justin Jefferson, and in rounds 12, 13 of your drafts, I already have a quarterback. Let me go out there and get my backup quarterback to get that stack with Justin Jefferson. It's in that range, right? So from 15 from 15 on in quarterbacks, it's kind of just your preference. But I guess Russell Wilson might be the only shocker here. I'm a bigger fan on Russ than most people, but I think with the conservative style of offense that Sean Payton likes to run, it's going to be very hard for Russ to have as bad of a year that he did from last year. All right, but moving over to the running back position, my top 10 goes as follows, and I'm sure there's some controversy here, but Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, and Bijan Robinson are my top 5 running backs. 6 through 10 is Saquon Barkley, which I kind of regret. I think I would have I think when draft day comes, I'd take Tony Pollard over him. But Saquon, Tony Pollard, Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that might come as a shock. Ramondre Stevenson and Derrick Henry. I'll say this. If Ramondre Stevenson did not have the Ezekiel Elliott signing there in New England, I think Ramondre would be a top 5 guy. But Zeke is there, and you can never trust Bill Belichick with those New England backs. Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely the biggest shock here, as I'm higher on him than other people, but this is an automatic third or fourth round pick for me, especially if I'm at the turns. If I'm at the 1 through 3 or the 10 through 12 in 12-team leagues, Jahmyr Gibbs is my automatic 3rd to 4th round pick, depending on how the draft board plays out. I just think that his upside and his floor are both high going into the year, and he could very well finish as a top 5 guy, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below about Jahmyr Gibbs, as he's a very polarizing player as far as where he sits in people's rankings. 11 through 20 is Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor. Of course, these were made right before everything happened. Jonathan Taylor is most likely dropped a couple spots. Travis Etienne and Miles Sanders is my 11 through 16. To close off that list, it's James Conner, Alexander Madison, J.K. Dobbins, and Breece Hall, who Breece Hall is getting underrated for sure, because I think, after the first month of the year, we know Dalvin Cook, is 1, not the most durable, and 2, not the most consistent. I think Breece Hall, after a month or so, when he's fully recovered from his knee injury, I think he's going to take back over, and I think he's really going to outshine Dalvin Cook, kind of making him like a third down back, as crazy as that might sound. So Breece Hall, you can get him in the 5th or 6th round, and he definitely has an RB2 upside this season. I think Miles Sanders, he's the one I highlighted here. He might be the one that you have questions about for why he's here, but Miles Sanders, in my opinion, I think he has a guaranteed workload. Young quarterbacks love to dump the ball off, and not to mention, Deuce Staley is back in Carolina, and he was with Miles Sanders in his rookie year with Philly, and that's when Miles Sanders had his most receiving work of his career. So that paired with the young quarterback, Miles Sanders should get a lot more passing work this year, as well as he's the bell cow there. So he's going to get the rushing work, especially in the red zone. At the wide receiver position, my top 10 is as follows: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, and A.J. Brown is in my top 5. And that might come as a shock, but I'm just a big believer in A.J. Brown. I don't think he's going to drop off as much as other people think. In fact, you'll see with the quarterback position, I think Jalen Hurts is my number 1 guy. And if that is the case, A.J. Brown should be, again, a top 5 receiver. Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, the Sun God, and Devontae Adams is my 6 through 10. All of those guys are super interchangeable. Really, after the top 4, it's all interchangeable. It's just a matter of preference. And at the end of the day, I think if I had to choose between A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs, I think I would take A.J. Brown, right? But again, on draft day, it all depends on how the draft boards play out, your league mates, how they draft. Things can change on a draft-to-draft basis, is a good way to put it. From 11 through 20, we have Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, and Marquise Brown. And then, of course, Deebo Samuel. Marquise Brown is the guy I highlighted here. I mean, Marquise Brown is just a guy that was averaging like 18 points a game when Kyler was playing last year, and he's going in like the 8th, 9th round of your drafts in 12-team leagues. If Kyler Murray is back, let's say week 5, you can get Marquise Brown as your 4th, 5th receiver, and then boom, he's a wide receiver 1 talent that you got in the 7, 8, 9 round. So Marquise Brown is a guy that I love to draft this year in the middle to late rounds, and other guys on this list. I mean, Deebo might be a shock, but I think just with his base, his floor is super low, but I think his ceiling is so high, I had to have him as a top 20 guy. Let's see, I mean, Jalen Waddle, we know how good he is. I love the player in Jalen Waddle. I wish he was here in Cleveland. Chris Olave should take a jump. Calvin Ridley should get back to superstardom. Devontae Smith is in a high-powered passing offense. Same with T. Higgins and Keenan Allen. DK Metcalf was a guy that was super hard for me to rank, and I dropped some of those players down in the comments below, matter of fact, because DK Metcalf on a year-to-year basis is a super talented player. We know how talented he is, but I just can't draft him. You know, it doesn't matter where it's at in the draft. When it comes down to it, it's like DK Metcalf and Kyle Pitts. It's like when I see them on the draft board at value, I just can't pull the trigger. So let me know down below some guys that have maybe burned you in the past and have gotten you to that same point that I am with DK Metcalf. And finally, at the tight end position, we have Travis Kelce. No shocker there. He's the clear 1. And then Mark Andrews, TJ Hockenson, George Kittle, and Dallas Goedert is my top 5. 6 through 10 is Pat Freiermuth, Darren Waller, if he can stay healthy, David Njoku, Chigo Okonkwo, and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts still a top 10 guy for me because go Gators, but he is just too inconsistent, and he's not in an offense and a scheme that's friendly to him and his fantasy production. And with that being said, it's just very hard to pull the trigger on Kyle Pitts, but guys like Pat Freiermuth and Chigo Okonkwo are 2 guys that I love to draft. They're 2 of my most drafted tight ends, but I also wouldn't be mad at a top 9 tight end here on this list, as you can't really go wrong with any of those guys. You can even make the argument for, of course, Kyle Pitts. But 11 through 20 to close off today's video, we have Evan Ingram, Dalton Schultz, Tyler Higbee, Greg Dulcich, and Dalton Kincaid in my top 15. Big fan of Dalton Kincaid this year. I just don't know if he can finish as a top 12 guy. Gerald Everett, Jawan Johnson, Hayden Hurst, Tyler Conklin, and Cole Kmet. I would not be mad at maybe swapping Cole Kmet or Tyler Conklin out for another guy. That's completely reasonable. Maybe even like a Michael Mayer. I think Michael Mayer is a guy that is a sleeper at the tight end position. He could finish as a top 20 guy as he's replacing Darren Waller in that Las Vegas offense. And we know that Jimmy Garoppolo loves to throw to his tight ends. Regardless, though, I'm going to stay safe and I'm going to go with these guys. Save those sleepers for the last round of my drafts. And that's going to do it for today's video. So we ran through the top 20 at all 4 positions. And let me know what you guys think. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Regardless, we have some big news coming up as tonight I have 2 big fantasy drafts. And tomorrow I have 2 money drafts as well. And we're going to be going live. Again, I'll say it here. We're going to be going live tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for a $50 buy-in draft, super competitive league. And following that, we're going to have the fan draft. We opened up a fantasy league for the channel, and we're going to be drafting that one around 8:30 on Saturday night. So if you have some time, go ahead and tune into the channel. And, of course, support us if you enjoy at any point. But without further ado, this is the Anomaly Podcast. I'll see you guys next week. So if you guys draft this weekend, good luck in your drafts. Win some money. Don't be stupid. And, again, go out there and build a team that can win you some money. But until Tuesday, when we next record, I can't think right now. Stay happy, stay healthy, and go win those fantasy leagues.